What's up, reefers? There. Thanks, Zon. Thank you for turning the music down. Hey, thank you for joining another Reef Chat with ReefStash. Today we're talking about the 5 biggest mistakes I've made with my current reef tank. This tank's been set up for 3 years now. We've had livestock in it for like 2 years and 9 months. And we're going to just take a look back. And in representing old school content with ReefStash, I got my old school ReefStash shirt on with the old spelling. That's right. If you're tuning into this video and you're expecting one of my top 5 mistakes to be shaving my mustache, you're wrong. My wife loves my mustache. What's up, everybody? Let's take a look in the chat. We got Brian. Thanks for joining, Brian. My mom's always here. Thank you, Mom. Appreciate you. Both of y'all coming in on Facebook. We're live on Facebook ReefStash channel and YouTube ReefStash channel. To get this started, we're going to feed the fish. And those who have been following, you know that we had a yellow tang get injured. Zion can pull me off the screen. But he has been in an acclimation box for the last week. And yesterday I was able to release him back into the tank. We have a mirror off to the far left. I'll show that to y'all later. And you can see 3 tangs right now on the top right. There's one in the back, one along the overflow, and then one behind that big SPS colony. What's up, KP Simple Aquatics? Thanks for joining, brother. Let me go drop some fish for these food for these fish. I've been feeding them like nonstop just to keep the aggression down, and they seem to be doing pretty well. So look, you can see right there. We're keeping them fat, y'all, so they stop fighting. Give me 1 second. Check it out. You can see all 3 of them there. The one that's been in the acclimation box had pretty torn up fins. These tanks have been with me since the start of this tank. They were actually the first additions, and we're going to get into that in a minute. Make sure y'all stick through the entire video. The top 2 of my 5 biggest mistakes actually almost ended me in this hobby and in content creation. So make sure you stick around so you can see what those mistakes were. And we also have some coral cane that we're going to give away today. We'll do a brief giveaway and somebody will win this and I'll ship it to you. But let's get started, y'all. What's up, Frank? Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate the positive comment, dude. We're able to bring this live stream to you because of your support. So thank you. I appreciate all of y'all sharing the videos and spreading the word, telling your friends, especially your reefer friends. What's up, Ryan? I'm doing well, brother. Thank you for asking. Hope you're doing well as well. Appreciate it. So we don't have a guest today, guys. And we're just going to get into my 5 biggest mistakes with this reef tank. And let's start with number 1. These are in order of not as severe to the severest ones. What's up, my lovely bride, Raquel? Thank you for joining, baby. Please do, Brian. Send me a pic of your handicap capable yellow tang. Oh, he has no dorsal fin. Man, they're funny. The one that I just released from the acclimation box actually has some algae stuck to his left fin. It's pretty funny. It's like hair algae that I was feeding him in the acclimation box just to get him nice and fat. All right, y'all. Let's start with my first mistake of the top 5. and that was adding wild collected macroalgae. As you know, I live in Florida, and there's so many temptations at the beach. There's dragon's breath popping up. I've seen Chato a couple of times, lots of Caulerpa, and even sea lettuce. Let me share a video for you. All right. Hey, Zion, do I have the screen up? Let's give Zion a shout out. Zion, I'm putting you on stage right now. Where'd you go, dude? There's my man, Zion. This is our oldest son, Zion. He's acting as our stage manager. And he sets up this entire live stream, types up the giveaways, and just keeps me straight. He features your comments as we're chatting, and I just appreciate him. He's doing a great job. So thank you, Zion. All right. Let's get me smalls on. Put that. And we can cut the music now, Z. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Guys, so we're talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that I've made with my reef tank. This goes all the way back to before I added any livestock. And I was just getting the sump going, the refugium. And I thought, awesome, sea lettuce. We're going to add some to the tank. Well, this is a big critter you can see right there. And just because I added wild-caught macroalgae, I had an infestation of medusa worms. And they were crazy. I had thousands of them, and they were tiny. They were like, I don't know, like a couple of millimeters. They were super small. This was one of the larger ones that I pulled out of the sump, but they were all over the tank. And this lasted for about a year. I don't think I realized I had them until maybe like 6 months after adding the macroalgae. But at that point, I had not added anything else to the tank. And I started with dry rock. So it wasn't like a pest that rode in on some live rock. And I also dipped the macroalgae, and I thought that was enough. I put it in roti water, and I thought that was enough, but apparently it wasn't, and I will definitely never make this mistake again. Let me play this for y'all. And Zion, you can cut the music off. It's still playing. There we go. All right, let's watch this video. All right, so reef safe or not, I say they're not reef safe. I've seen some reef tanks that actually keep them, and they have like maybe one large one or something. I have no idea how they don't multiply and go crazy in their tanks, but they can definitely sting some coral and fish. And they were everywhere in my tank. It was so crazy. The solution was I just wrote it out. I literally just kept praying and hoping that they would just go away. And eventually they disappeared. So I would assume that whatever they were feeding on, I cleaned up, kept my tank a little bit cleaner, and they just eventually died off. So anyways, medusa worms. The mistake was adding wild-caught macroalgae. I'll never do it again. You can get clean macro from many companies out there. Let's go to my next mistake. Okay, this one's kind of bittersweet because it was always my dream to add a school of yellow tangs to a reef tank. I visioned having a school of 10. I thought my tank was big enough to house 10 yellow tangs for at least a couple of years, and with the understanding that I would probably have to start rehoming them as they started getting larger and the pecking order started to happen. So I added 10 yellow tangs to this tank, and we're going to start with a video of when those tangs came in. All right, here we go. So we added a school of fish, yellow tangs, and they were the first livestock to enter the tank, aside from the medusa worms, which I didn't know I had. But Man, it was a dream come true. They were all captive bred, came through from biota, and I was just super excited about it. So let's start with the beginning part of the video when they first came in.
Here we go. What's up, my UPS man? Oh yeah, you got my fish. Dang, it looks heavy. Oh my gosh. All right. Right there, right there. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Okay, that was an exciting day. Like 10 yellow tangs coming in. At that time, the Hawaii ban was happening, so to have yellow tangs in your tank was a pretty big deal. And especially to have captive breds, like that was just the coolest thing for me. And didn't completely work out. But let's watch the 10 as they entered the tank for the first time. Let's see, it's at the 5-minute mark. I was looking at this before we started today. Where are we at? Okay. All right, here's the 10 yellow tangs going into the tank for the first time. All right, so it's the next day. You can see there's that beard. 10 yellow tangs. That was awesome. And you can see they were little, right? So I got to enjoy them for quite a while. That was definitely one of the highlights of this tank. And watching them for that first year was just super cool. I loved creating content, sharing videos and pictures with y'all. And I let that rock get nasty. Like my thing was, as long as they're happy and there's lots of algae growing, they're going to stay healthy. The aggression was going to stay down. So, I didn't even look at coral for a good few months until I guess, they kind of settled in. But my rock was covered with hair algae. Some of y'all may remember that. But that was definitely a cool highlight. But then we get into the sad parts. And that was they began a pecking order. And a year in, started getting a little difficult with the yellow tangs. And one day out of the blue, I lost 4 in one weekend. And to this day, I'm not quite certain exactly what happened, but I'm going to share that with y'all right now. So that was tough. I took a hit on that one. And just addressing the colors on them, look how beautiful they are. They got so bright yellow. But that was definitely sad. That was a hit, and I didn't know exactly what to make of it. I had all my parameters were in check. I was testing. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I did add a poly filter afterwards, and that thing pulled some nasty gunk. So I don't know if something got into my tank that I just couldn't detect or what, but yeah, that was tough. And then that continued for, let's see, they did pretty good for the next few months. And then I started losing one here and there to pecking orders, and ended up with the 3 that you see now that are currently in the tank. And we're still dealing with aggression. I think I have it under control, but yellow tangs are aggressive. They fight with their own kind, or any tangs that look like them. and it's just difficult to keep more than one in a large, even a large tank, especially in smaller tanks. But so this tank is 228 gallons. It's 6 foot width. It's 2 foot front to back and top to bottom. So it's a large tank, but I think it's even small for these yellow tanks. I feel like we're gonna get to the point where I only have one yellow tang left, and I'm trying to stay on top of it in case I need to intervene and actually rehome one. I definitely don't want any more to die, so I'm prepared to rehome the smallest two if I need to. And you know, I'm very transparent, y'all. I like to share what's going on. Reefing's tough. There's always something going on, so the mistake here was adding 10 yellow tanks. As hard as that is for me to say, I think it was a mistake just because I couldn't control everything. Even though I had planned on rehoming some of them, I didn't get the opportunity to do that, unfortunately. So that was a tough one, but I was still jamming, still doing great. Definitely didn't have any thoughts of slowing down and maybe stopping content or stopping the reef tank. I just kept rebounding. And then came, actually, we'll save that one for next. That's one of the ones that almost ended me. So next, let's look at something I wish I would have done with this tank. And to me, I think it was a mistake, the way I set up this tank. And that was, whoops, I just lost my screen. And that was not adding enough room behind the tank glass and the wall. So let me show y'all how I installed the backlight, which, by the way, is one of my favorite features on this tank, is the backlit LED light. This video that we're looking at here is obviously on the YouTube channel. And I went into great detail on how to install this kit that I used. There's links in the description too, if you're interested in it. But this just like set the whole mood and tone of this tank. And it's constantly a conversation piece online. People are always asking, how did you do that? How did you do that? And I'm constantly sharing this video. But it was a highlight by all means. But what I wish I would have done is left a little more room to get back there to clean that back glass. So let me share a little snippet of the end. All right, so you can see there's not a lot of room back there, and this was the perfect time, actually the only opportunity to, before filling it with water, of being able to have enough room behind the tank. You know, and you kind of think, well, that might not look that great being off the wall, but I don't care. I wish I would have left some room so I could slide back there. And I'm gonna jump on the other camera that the tank is on right now, and I'm gonna grab that camera just to show y'all what I have to do to clean this back glass. So let me end this camera for a second and I'll catch you in just a hair. Zon, can you All right, what's up, y'all? So I'm in front of the tank right now, and I'm gonna show you. Zon, can you hear me? Okay, cool. I'm gonna show you what I have to go through to clean this tank. Let me flip the camera around. Where'd you go? Hey, babe. Let me show y'all right there. We got a tang mirror, hoping to keep the aggression down. But here's behind the tank, and I made this pole extender on a flipper cleaner, and I use this to slide back and forth to clean the back glass. And this thing is kind of ghetto. Look at that. It got duct tape all over it. Yeah, doesn't look that great, but that's what I got to do to get this thing cleaned on the back glass. And I have to do that every couple of days. And I usually just keep it in the back there. All right, let me come back to this front screen. Behind that tank. I haven't been checking comments. What's up, Marlo? Thanks for joining. Yeah, babe. Opportunity for ingenuity. Yeah, absolutely. So I had to get creative on that. So we got two more of my top 5 biggest mistakes on this reef tank, and the next two that I have almost ended me. And we're going to talk about it in a second. But next, I want to do a giveaway to hook y'all up. We're going to give away some coral canes. Zon, you can put me in the middle. We're going to play Two Truths and a Lie. All right. So this next one, you're going to tell me the first person to comment the lie correctly will win the coral cane. This is Coral Food by Quantum USA. It's unopened, and I'll ship this to you. Whoever wins, you just need to DM me on Facebook Messenger or on Instagram and give me your shipping details, and I'll send that out to you. All right, my wife wants to play. Hey, family, you can play too. However, pause before you reply, and you can't win. All right, here we go. So, which of the following 3 statements about me are a lie? 1, ReefStash is bald. 2, ReefStash once kicked a 60-yard field goal in football. And 3, ReefStash has 6 kiddos. Who's it gonna be? Which one is the lie? ReefStash is bald. ReefStash kicked a 60-yard field goal. And ReefStash has 6 kiddos. Football, Brian. No, that's not correct. Any other guesses? My mom knows. My wife knows. Zion knows. My kids know. They're yelling the answers in the background. All right. Who's got it? Brian, you get another guess, dude. I heard one of my kids running. He knows the answer. He's upstairs. Who's got it? Who's got it? All right, Zion, you can keep it up. Bald. I'm going to give you a hint. ReefStash is bald. Yeah. You can't tell. I never take off my hat, dude. And there's a story behind me being bald. Whew. Man, I used to dye my hair. And, some of it could be genetics. I don't know. Brian, you're the only one participating, dude. I'm going to send you some quantum coral cane, dude. You take it, man. And the lie is I have 5 kiddos, not 6. All right, y'all. Let's get into my next top 2 biggest mistakes on this reef tank. All right. Zon, you can turn. Oh, you already did. Man, you're ahead of me, dude. Good job, buddy. Brian, thanks for playing, dude. Appreciate you. And Ethan Lucklin. Yep, you got it right. Ethan's family, though. All right, cool. Let's get my share screen back on. All right, so the next big mistake that I made on this tank was adding a school of lyre-tailed damsels. Now, these damsels are supposed to be pretty peaceful when you add one, maybe two. I don't know. But that didn't work out in my case. And anybody that's been reefing for a while knows that damsels are gonna wreck a tank. Like they're all aggressive. These guys were supposed to be an exception, and I believe that they could have been an exception because there are damsels that are exception. One being sapphire damsels, sapphire blue damsels. Those dudes are awesome, man. I've had them in so many tanks, and they just did great. Any other damsels have always turned aggressive on me. I thought I'd take a chance on these guys. I thought a school was going to be awesome. They were going to add a lot of mid-level swimming, and they have these cool streamers on their tails, and it just didn't work out. It started great. I even posted a lot of content on it, but since then I've had to update all that content that I had out there, and just notated that these guys are aggressive. But let's take a look at the damsels when I added them, and look at that big old beard there. Springer damsels. Yep. Those I believe we're talking about the same one, the blue sapphires, Brian. Is that the same? All right, let me play this video.
Added to the tank.
Now, I want to keep playing this video because in this shipment, I had a lot of fish come in, like a trio of damsels. I had some lynx, gobies. Hold on, I wrote down how many fish these damsels killed. The problem is they were great in the beginning, but I added 6 of them, and they started breeding. They started nesting in the tank, and they became extremely aggressive. They were territorial over both scapes on the left and the right. There was a breeding female on the right and one on the left, and they wrecked my tank. They killed 15 fish total over 6 months after they began nesting. And I had these fish for a year. After the 6-month mark is when they started becoming territorial and they started nesting. They killed a trio of square anthias. I was so excited about those anthias, man. One of my favorite fish was a square anthea. So that was tough to take in. They killed a radial filefish. That dude was awesome. He used to just like surf the tank at sunset. Every night he'd go over to the wave maker and just go back and forth right in the wave before lights would go out. And they killed 4 lynx gobies, which came in on this shipment. They killed a starry goby. That dude was cool. And 2 bonds gobies. They even killed a coral beauty. And, you know, coral beauties can handle their own, too. And they killed a blue mandarin pair. This was over a period of 6 months, and it literally almost ended me. It was tough. It was hard to come out of that. I'd slowed down on content because I spent 6 months trying to catch these fish. I started with sharing content, and it was getting depressing, just because they had killed so many fish over that time. Let me continue so you can see some of the fish that they killed. Well, that didn't show you the fish. This was hanging artwork over the tank. Here we go. Fortunately, they didn't kill this dude. I love that golden bassa. He came in on this shipment too. That's a cool fish. Let's see. Still have one of the neon gobies. I forgot they killed one of them. and then the video goes into some of the coral that came in on the shipment. But man, those guys, they worked my tank. That was tough. That was definitely a tough one to get through. So I had fish traps that were working great, but there was just a couple of those fish that were super difficult to catch, and I kept trying. Here's where I caught one with a net, I believe. Yeah, that was tough. Here's where I caught one of the pregnant lyre tails, and you can see her belly was kind of big. She was holding. Yeah, that was tough. That was absolutely tough. Um, Forget about damsels. Okay, Brian, I hear you. Springery. Okay, I was thinking they were the same. Hey, Heather, thanks for joining. Yeah, they're evil fish. Oh man, that was. Ugh. And they're cool fish, right? With the streamers, I thought they looked awesome. Like reminded me of a tang with some streamers, but they looked cool, and it was cool for 6 months. But once they went aggressive, that was. Oh man, I still haven't kicked back fully from that. Um, Trying to catch them was unreal because I had to keep adding lots of food to the tank, and my parameters were getting all out of whack because nothing was stable because I was feeding so much, and it was just unreal. It was a mess. Yeah, babe. My wife said, I remember how we celebrated when we caught the final buggers. Yeah, it was great. Like I felt like God answered some prayers. Literally, I was praying. I was praying for help, and I still don't know how I caught a couple of them where I just, feeding the tank and then bam with the net real quick and grab them. And all of them went to the sump. I have no idea if they're still in there or what. I never rehomed any of them. They've just been in the sump living, and I don't check for them. Kind of mad at them, to be honest with you. Yeah, we were dancing, babe. All right, and that brings us to the final biggest mistake I've made with this reef tank. And this one almost ended me. I literally was about to just throw in the towel. It was tough, man. And I don't have any footage to show y'all of this one. Zion, you can put the tank up. But I will show you on the other camera in a second. So this next one, I literally almost hung it all up. I had a serious talk with my wife after it happened, and I really didn't know how to come back from this. After this next one happened, I slowed down on content to a halt, especially on the YouTube channel, and I had to do a lot of processing. But I had a pump kick off the return line, and it shot water all over the stand in my tank. And the mistake that I made was that I had some power bricks, the large brick part, to different pieces of equipment in the on the tank, touching the ground of the stand, and it's in the control cabinet of the tank. And I just wasn't thinking. It's one of those things where I was procrastinating on getting strips to hang them on the control board. I have all my controllers set up on the control panel. I'll show you that in a second. But what happened was when this return pump kicked off the return line, water shot all over my stand. The controllers were safe from water, but those power bricks were not, and it caused some smoke and a little small fire under the display of the tank. I had my wife and I were out when it happened, and our sons called us on a video chat and we're like, what do we do? The tank is smoking. And, trying, I was walking around Target. I think we were like shopping for a gift or something for our daughter. And I remember just talking them through like what to do, what to turn off. And while we were talking, everything just shut off. And my heart dropped. Like I didn't know how to process that one. That was like a worst nightmare. And it could have been prevented had I taken care of those cords and did better cable management, gotten the power bricks off of the ground and into a safe place in the stand in case any spills happened, or you can never be too safe with water. You never know when something's going to happen. And it's important that we have power bricks mounted to something up and away from water, which is funny because all this gear is under 228 gallons of water. So it's pretty crazy what can go wrong. And that one almost ended me. That was a tough one. I remember having a serious talk with my wife, and I told her I think I'm done. I'm gonna tear the tank down, and I think I'm done on YouTube. And my wife's very supportive. She has vision. She half the things I do is because it was her idea, and I just roll with it. So thank you, babe. I appreciate you. But she told me, she simply reminded me of all the people that have supported me during this tank build, all the people that have encouraged me, that have commented, shared posts that I've made, have sent me private messages, just sharing how the content's either blessed them or something I shared blessed them. And she just reminded me of all of y'all. And she also reminded me of the family and, my kids. They're all very supportive. They've been super excited about the YouTube journey and sharing content. And she just reminded me of all the people that have supported me along the way. And it really encouraged me not to quit, to not give up, and to keep pushing forward. And so, babe, Raquel, I appreciate you. We're here doing these live streams because you encouraged me and kept me going. And I'm very thankful for that. And I love you, babe. So thank you, Raquel, for your support. And I encourage all y'all, reefing is hard. And when you hit a roadblock or you get to a place in reefing and you feel like you want to quit because you're losing a fish, or something's happening with coral, or you even have a leak, or anything that happens with your tank, my advice to you is to just step back for a second, take a few days, you don't stress. And sometimes we just need to step away for a hair. Don't make any rash decisions. And check out the communities. You can, post about what you're going through on Reef Tank Life, which is our Facebook group. And everybody's very supportive there. And you can either, maybe you just need somebody to listen, or you need to work through a problem, post, and the entire community is always there to support us. So don't give up. As Rick said, never surrender. And yeah, just keep on reefing. Happy reefing, right? So let me show y'all the control panel real quick. I'm going to jump on the other camera. The control. All right, I'm at the tank right now. I've had few people asking me, is the tank loud? And here it is. Relatively quiet. You can hear a little bit of water coming down. I set up a light right here just so we could see. And that's not going to work with the orange filter. When the water went, I had this entire panel shut off. Fortunately, none of the controllers were damaged, but the power bricks caught fire, and I was out of return pump for a short period of time. I had an Ecotech pump, and then I switched over to this Jabeo. I had that as a backup pump, which worked out really well. The pan array
this power bank was out, so I lost that pump for a while. Unique Corals was awesome. They shipped me another power bank. The DeLua one was out, and what else was out? I had one other. Oh, the MP40 was out. I didn't replace that one. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the M2 return pump. I didn't purchase a replacement once I got that guy going. But you can, let me show you in here. I don't know if you can see very well, but the return is back there, down there, and it was shooting water all through here. And it went into the stand back there, and water was on the ground. And oh man, so I've since, that didn't work, but I have these power banks up mounted to the back of this. Looks like that's not staying. Might have to use some Velcro. All back here. And you can see I have stuff lifted and up off of the ground now. And we have some power banks back here. Those are for the lights, just to keep them up off of the ground. We got a Felix controller here. But the lesson learned was to not procrastinate on any power banks. Make sure they're all up and secure, away from any potential water damage. Let me get the tank back on.
For the 5 biggest mistakes that I've made with this tank. We'll get into some Q&A. If anybody has any questions, drop them in. Zion, if there's any questions I overlooked, you can scroll them across the screen, bring them to my attention. What's up, Pops? Thanks for joining. Love you, man. Pops is in the house. Tell us about the 60-yard field goal. My wife just asked. So I went to school in Panama, Colón City, Panama, and I once kicked a 60-yard field goal. I will admit I had some, it was a little bit of a windy day that kind of helped me out a little bit. And it wasn't in a game, it was in practice. But the fact that I hit a 60-yard field goal was pretty big deal. I was kind of proud of that. But yeah, so that was, we played 2 truths and a lie. That was one of the truths. Yeah, Brian, man, Jabale's, come on, for the price, dude, you can't go wrong. That the MP or the M2 return pump that I had, that thing been offline. It went offline twice. One was my fault. The first time it went offline, I forget what happened. Something with it was overheating. And then I got it going again. But during that time, I had purchased a backup pump and I went with the Jabeo. And after this next time when the power bank fried, I never replaced it. I didn't get it back on. Super legs, yeah. So my nickname in high school was Toe. They called me Toe. Yeah, man, I was big into football and soccer. Any other questions? So I'll just let y'all know, like, this live stream was kind of tough for me to do. I spent the week thinking about the mistakes that I've made with the tank, and there was one other mistake that I didn't add to the list, and that was adding peppermint shrimp. They did great getting rid of the Aptasia, but they also got rid of some of my torch corals. They got rid of some of the acans, and I don't know what's up with peppermints, but when they go for coral, they don't go for the cheap stuff. They go for the most expensive ones, and that was another mistake. But I didn't add that. I stuck with the 5, but if I was doing 6, that definitely would have been one of them as well. Yeah, hey, Pops, right on. Why didn't they call me Foot? You know what? If you know anything about kicking footballs, you do not kick with your toe. They called me Toe though. You kick with the top part of your foot. Is my Brian, is my controller compartment watertight now in case of a leak? Um, so I plugged up the holes, like the plumbing holes that led into or that bypassed that area. Um, but as for watertight at the bottom, no. If there was a leak in the stand, it could make it to the control area. But I just made sure I don't have anything on the bottom anymore. And before I had those power banks just resting on the bottom of it. And dude, I don't know why I just didn't really think that was going to be a thing. But it's always better to double check everything, and doesn't hurt to be extra cautious with everything, especially, man, we're dealing with water and electricity. That's like a bad combo. Yeah, not the shrimpies, Raquel. You know what I went through on those guys. Oh man, late at night with flashlights and trying to catch shrimp. Oh my gosh, I had like 15 of them too. Oh, Rick had a 120-gallon reef tank sink into the floor one time. That's wild, dude. Uh, Denial is a river in Egypt. We can visit, but never stay. That's great. Caused by snails, Rick. I don't get it. Oh, they blocked the overflow. Hmm. Yeah, that's. I'm assuming that's what happened. Yeah, dual drains, man. Dual drains. Definitely a good thing to have. Yeah, I've had a few tanks that were that weren't drilled, and I had hang on back overflows, and occasionally I'd have some either lose siphon or get a YouTube blocked by um, a snail. Old school, yeah, man. Been there, done that. So I've been reefing since 2007. I actually got into reef tanks because my wife, when we were dating, she had a little guppy fish tank, and every time I go visit her, I just sit there staring at the fish. And after we were dating for a while, and her tank kind of became my tank, and then I got like these little bala sharks, little freshwater tank, and I got upgraded that to a larger tank, and got into cichlids and breeding cichlids for a couple of years. And then once I hit reef tanks, it was over. And I've made every mistake out there. Like you, coming from freshwater to saltwater, I don't know why, but you just think cycle is no big deal. Like especially back in the day when we didn't have all the magic products that we have now with nitrifying bacteria and all that. Man, I was like 2 days in and I was already adding stuff. It was, oh gosh, it was horrible. I made all the mistakes, killed some livestock, and man, I definitely have learned some serious lessons. Brian, my 90 split a seam. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, that's tough, Brian. Raquel. I forgot about that. You used to feed you breeding guppies to feed your turtle. Oh, I remember that. Brian, you nailed it, dude. Mistakes are the best way to learn. Yeah. I wish we could all just listen and not make some of the mistakes, but that's part of growing and learning. Flex Seals tape for the win, man. I got some Flex Seal tape on my Brute Roadie containers right now. I had leaks with the plumbing. I'm like, man, give me that Flex tape. Just wrapped it around it. Problem solved. Your rescued red slider turtle, Raquel, that you named Chip because he had a little chip in his shell. It was awesome, dude. All right, y'all. So we're gonna wrap this one up. I appreciate everyone that joined, and we're gonna be next week. We're not gonna be live. I have another appointment during that time, but we'll continue the following week, and we'll have another guest back on with us. And I appreciate everybody joining. Make sure you are in our Reef Tank Life group on Facebook. Share your tanks. Be sure to ask questions if you have them about your tanks, and help out others that need the help. I love the community there. Everybody's always pitching in and helping others. And I appreciate all y'all supporting this live stream with likes and shares and comments. That's a huge blessing. And just appreciate each of y'all. So thank you for joining another Reef Chat with ReefStash, where we're talking about reef tanks. And have y'all selves a great rest of the week and a weekend ahead. Appreciate all y'all.